Hello everyone and welcome back. Another video with lots of magic content. This time we are working on the Earth Warrior, the Dwarf, and the armor, as you can see, is one of the main points of this video. I had a very interesting time deciding what kind of armor I want to make. So I looked into different options and I had a really tough time deciding because I didn't want to actually make this a normal European armor because I need this for another faith, and I had no idea how to actually make an interesting armor without just slapping metal plates on top of the body and call it a day. So I really thought about this a lot, and in the end I decided to go with a kind of samurai inspired armor. This was the idea with which I worked, and as you can see I have a very early set called the Ronin set, which I tried to use as a basis, but this set was so so small, so uninteresting, that I decided, okay, I'm going with I'm going to do this from scratch, more or less. I used the full body suit that I made for the Genesis 2 male as a basis. As you can see, I've copied parts of it, like I copied a certain area of it, and then used the extrusion tool to extrude every row of faces separately and had them overlap each other a bit, so that I have this illusion of the lamellar or the plates of the samurai armor. Looks a little bit like a turtle shell as well, so yeah. The color is actually just for me, so while I'm working I can see what part I'm working on, what I have what I have selected, and this helped me a lot to actually go with the details. As you can see, I've done the same thing over and over again for the shoulders, for the back, for the front, and later on for the hip as well. The UV map is really crude, and I didn't take the time to actually rework that or to touch it up again. I just took it as it was because it just gets a flat color in the end anyway. Mostly because the original style in the game was really simplistic colored, so there's really just a basic color that the hero has, and that's it. And I wanted to emphasize on this style. So there may be a point in the future where I use that armor again, where I touch it up, where I clean up the UV maps, but this will most likely not be in the near future. This is something I will probably do after I've done every of the lords, after I'm done with the whole set. Then I will probably touch up on a few of these parts and take the time to improve on them as content here on YouTube. So that's a possibility. But for those who follow my Discord, you have seen that I did a few other things in between as well, played around with a few settings and stuff. Yeah. At this part, I made a simple line which I thickened with the tool, and then I copy pasted it everywhere to connect the armor plates. So very early on I decided that I will use the full body suit as a basis on which the plates sit. So I decided to make this a whole set. I could have probably at this point just cut it up and said, okay, I'm going to do the torso and the legs separately, and I can still do that, even though I have to admit I accidentally copy pasted saved over my armor file, mainly because I was in such a rush that I forgot to save the file separately. So yeah, this happens, and the only way I have is to import the object file and use that as a basis if I want to work on this again. Yeah, but I basically just yeah, screwed that up a bit, and I have to live with that. Yeah, I tried to create an obi kind of belt here, like the samurai have, like the knotted belt, and this is basically the closest I got at this point. Also for the hips, I looked if I can just copy paste cheat, quick cheat my way to content here, but I in the end I decided I'm gonna make this from scratch again, which doesn't take actually as long as soon as I have figured out these steps, or as soon as I have created a simple step-by-step thing for this for the whole armor plate. So each armor plate is really just a grid, either copy pasted from the basis or made by hand, and then each row is extended once. I grabbed one of the lines of it and pulled it downwards over the next one, so that there is this overlap. As you can see right now, I'm doing this on the sides and on the front plate, on the hip, and this gives it a nice bit of depth without adding too much detail. So it's a detail, but it's not overwhelming the viewer here. I also filled a bit with the belt and made it less sticking out, less big, less bulky. I reduced basically the bulkiness of it and made it look a bit more natural. Well, I tried at least. Yeah. For the back, I copy pasted this again. So I copy pasted the front and made a few minor adjustments, but yeah, this was really just the quick and easy fix for this. It looks a little bit weird from the back because it's just not. It could have been longer or more down. Yeah, it could have been a little bit longer, but I decided I'm not gonna do a whole lot with it, and if I really decide I'm gonna animate it or you're gonna see it from the back, I can still work on this. I mean, at this point I didn't know that I would accidentally overwrite my file. Yeah, I'm using the same model for the string again. This is really a really simplistic model, and it's working in the render. It's working quite well because it's a minor detail. You can see it, but it's not that complex or that big that it draws the attention away from the whole render. By the way, this is at the end of the video again, last 7 seconds. Music is by Maestro again. It's the same track, but yeah, really thankful that he gave me the chance to prop up my videos with this music. This is really this means a lot to me because it's just that much of a quality improvement in my opinion. Yeah, I used the Berserker boots as a basis, but I didn't just put them in. I actually worked on them, which brings us to the next chapter of this video. In a few seconds we will start working on the boots. I just wanted to make sure that everything else I had, the whole armor, that this fits to the boot beforehand. Yeah, this is the undergarment. The VMap. I also added the edges, so it's working quite well, and then we are going to export this for later use in Death 3D. And the boots, as you can see, for the boots and the gloves, the gauntlets which will come, I didn't take that much time actually, or I didn't need that much time. I took the time I needed, but I had a very precise idea where I want to go with this. I used the same technique as before with extrusion and yeah, a bit of welding the different lines here together, different edges, and this is worked out really quite well. I mean, I could have added a bit more detail probably, but having detail on a part without having too much detail of I think works out pretty well, because it's just it gives you enough of an impression of where I want to go, what this is, without being so full that it overwhelms the viewer. So yeah, the the boot was really quite simple. As you can see, I'm downsizing it so it isn't that big, that overwhelming. Yeah, copy pasting it for the other side, and we are at the last part, the gloves, which are really again just a copy paste of just a copy of some part of the full body suit. I added a few lines with the connect tool, and then I used the extrusion tool again to make this this handguard, or the hand protection. I actually looked at a few samurai suits that I could find online. Obviously, I don't have the chance to look at a real samurai suit, which would be rather cool, but yeah, not gonna happen that soon. So I watched a few, or looked at a few online models or online pictures which I could find, and it was quite interesting to try and work this out. So having just these pads and not an actual glove or gauntlet is something I found interesting, so I used it for this model. Yeah, and this is really, I think it comes along quite nicely, even though to be honest, at the for the gloves I could have added more detail. They could have used a little bit more detail, maybe a ribbon around or something, but at this point I was just short before going to work, so I decided I'm going to work with what I have, and I'm quite okay with how it turned out. It's something I can probably look at a later point and improve on, or work on more details in the next render or the next set, who knows. But yeah, I'm really happy with how everything turned out, and I really like the final render. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this video inspired you to do some creative artwork from yourself, or that it at least taught you a few tricks in a hexagon, which isn't that much used. See you guys around, and stay healthy.